So what we've been talking about is systems of equations. How do you know when you're looking at a system?
There's 2 or more equations.
You got 2 or more equations. And we have 2 ways now. I mean, we have 3 if you count graphing them, if you want to actually grab graphing paper and rulers and do that. But really, aside from graphing, we have 2 ways to solve it. What are those 2 ways?
Elimination and substitution.
Elimination, that's the one that's up here. And the other one, substitution. Elimination, substitution, elimination, substitution. You can use them. Sometimes, like, one equation might be good for either way. If we were talking substitution, like before, what did we want to happen? Out of the
X and a Y equation.
We wanted either an x equals or y equals equation, right? So you have your 2 equations, and if one of them says y equals, let's do substitution. But when it comes to elimination, here's what we want. This method is going to work best when the x pieces, the y pieces, and the number pieces from both equations are what?
Aligned.
Aligned. Remember yesterday we said
Stacked.
stacked. They're on top of each other. So go ahead and put, we want them to be stacked or aligned. And what I mean by that is, from this first example, stacked. I got my x's on top of my x's, my y's on top of my y's, and my numbers on top of numbers. Stacks. X stack, y stack, number stack. I don't have x equals or y equals, which is what we do for substitution. Now here's what ideally, here's the best scenario. And example 1 is the best case scenario. Ideally we want either the x or the y to eliminate immediately, so we don't have to do anything. So ideally we want either the x's or y's to eliminate. Of course, that's not going to happen. That'll happen sometimes. That's just not going to happen more often than not. But ideally, that's the best case scenario. We got our stacks, and they are ready to eliminate.
X equals 5.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. Let's go, before you get to x equals 5, let's show how we got there. Are these equations stacked right here?
Yes.
Okay. If I added them up, would one of the letters eliminate?
Yes.
Yeah,
Y.
y would eliminate. So let's just put a line underneath, and let's just add them up.
14x equals 70.
14x is 70. 14x, that's gone, is 70.
And then you divide and you get x equals 5.
Divide and x equals 5. All right, so x is 5. I circle that because that's not the answer, that's just half of the answer. And I would look at my answer choices.
You could eliminate 2.
Yeah, it's either A or B, but it is not
C or D.
C or D. So here's what I have to do. Once I have that x is 5, what do I do with it to find out what y is?
Plug it in.
Plug it in for
X.
x. Either, I would go back to the beginning, choose either one of these, and put a 5 in for the x. So if we just said the first one, let's rewrite the first one. Instead of 5x, write 5 times 5. So we're just going to rewrite the first one, replacing this x with a 5. So I'm going to go 5 times 5 minus 4y equals 10. So here's this. I've substituted that 5 into the x. Now it's 25.
25 minus 4y equals 10.
It's 10
And you add 20, or you subtract 25.
minus 25 on each side. And now negative 4y, make sure it's still negative. Negative 4y equals negative 15.
And you divide by negative 4.
I'll divide by
You get
negative
3
4.
points.
Yeah. And if I divide by negative 4, I end up getting a positive number. It's y equals
A.
3 3/4.
3 3/4. Yeah. So you got 15/4. Or, one way you could do it is convert it. Or 3 3/4. And that's what you have, right, for answer A?
Yeah.
3 3/4. So x was 5, y was 3 3/4. All right, that is best case scenario. They're stacked and the y is eliminated. We didn't have to do nothing other than just add them up. Now this is not quite the case. If you added these up, so example 2, if you added these up, they don't eliminate. 6 and 6 don't eliminate and make 12. So what do I need to do so that I can make these 6's eliminate?
Times -1.
Yeah.
Times negative.
I would go to the
Or
bottom
put
one.
negative on.
Yeah. Let's multiply the entire bottom equation by -1, which means change the signs of the bottom equation. So let's make this -6x right here, -3y right there, and -51. And now add your stacks. And you end up with x's going away. What's y become? 5 minus 3? So you got 2 y's, and then 69 minus 51,
Is
2 and
18.
18. 69 minus 51 is 18.
And 9 is
Y. 9 is
Y
y.
equals
Divide by 2 and
So it's
Wait,
D, it has to be D
something wrong.
because it's the only.
Oh, I added instead of subtract. Yeah.
what'd you add? 61, 69,
I
51?
added 5 and 3 instead of subtract.
Oh, you had it as 8 instead of 2. Okay. Y is 9. Now, if you were looking on multiple choice, if y is 9, how many answers do you have that have a 9 in the y spot?
D.
Yeah. What's with B? What's that at 9?
X.
Yeah, that's the wrong spot. So we're looking at D. Now the X is 4. If you had to find that, how would you do it?
Plug it in.
Plug what in?
4 for the
The
X.
Y and the Y.
Oh,
The 9 in for Y.
yeah, that's what I meant.
I would just take the top equation and plug a 9 in right here. So you go 6x plus 5 times 9 equals 69.
What is that?
Magically get 4.
Yeah, and then you work it out, you would get 4. All right, example 3. Now, it gets a little more messed up each time. The first system worked out perfect. The second one, we just had to change the bottom. The third one, here's our system. Now, if you added these things up, you're not even close to eliminating. That makes 14x, that makes 20y. So what can we do?
Times the bottom row by 3.
Times the bottom row by 3, but that would make this positive 15.
Well, -3.
So you multiply by -3. Think about, okay, the easiest way to make one of these look like the other. Making a 4 look like a 10, not that easy. Making a 5 look like a 15, that's not so bad. Just multiply it by 3, but since you want it to be -15, multiply by -3. So I put a -3 right here. And then change the bottom equation to -30x, -15y, and -264. This is a 4, not a y. Okay, then add your stacks. So 4 minus 30x, 4x minus 30x,
Negative 27.
26.
26x, close. Okay, 15 minus 15, there's your eliminate right there. And then you gotta go 134 minus 264,
-130.
negative 130. I believe it's gonna work out to be a nice whole number. Once you divide by -26,
Someone do it.
5.
positive 5, right?
Yes.
All right, how many answers do you have
One.
where x is positive 5?
Beep.
And again, if you needed to get the y, take that 5 and do what with it?
You sub it in for the.
Yeah, x is 5, so sub it in for the x. So 4 times 5 plus 15y equals 134.
What was your greatest one?
All right, last one. We'll do one extra one. We'll do one of your homework ones. Okay, this system is the most messed up because you got -5 and 2, 4 and 3, and those aren't going to eliminate. So what should we do?
You should multiply them both to make the Y like 12.
Okay, we actually have 2 options, and that's one. I can make 4s and 3s. I can make them both 12s. Or, look at the x's. You can make both of these
-10.
-10 and positive 10. And I would actually go with the x's. You could do the y's, but I would go with the x's because one of them's already negative. You got a negative and a positive. So let's just make this -10 and make this positive 10. So I would multiply the top one by what? To make it -10.
5. Wait, 2.
And the bottom one by 5. So the top one is going to be, this is going to be -10x plus 8y equals 92. And the bottom is going to be 10x plus 15y equals 0. 10x plus 15y equals 0. and then eliminate, so that's gone, that's 15 and 8. Like 23 y's
Yeah.
and 92. Divide, and we're gonna find out what y is, and then we'll be done actually. What's y?
4.
Positive 4. Positive 4. How many answers have y is positive 4? Just the one, just the one. Okay, and now I'm gonna do, let's see, I'll do Dylan's.
Oh.
Oh,
This one right here.
W's.
Okay, okay, let's look at the one with fraction on it. So, and then Madison, you didn't get to see how we did this yesterday. Two options. You could just go through and kill all these fractions. That's one way to do it. If I wanted to kill all the fractions, I gotta get all the bottoms the same. Now this piece on this one doesn't have a bottom, so I'm gonna put a 1 on it. Okay. And I'm gonna kill the fractions by making them all the same. So I got a 4, a 2, and a 1, so I wanna make them all what? Between a 4, 2, and a 1.
You want to make them all fractions?
I can all, but I'm talking about the bottoms, the bottoms. 4, 2, and 1. What's the number that I can make them all be? 8. Or I could actually make them all just.
14. Wait, no.
4.
No.
All right, the 4 is a 4. Can I make a 2 become a 4?
Yes.
Yes.
And a 1 become a 4?
Yes.
Now, if you did 8s, you're not going to be wrong. You're gonna have to actually do a little more work. But let's say we just make them 4s. I'm going to put a 2 over 2 here, and a 4 over 4 here. And then that's 4, that's 4, that's 4. So over here to the right, I'm going to write x plus 2y equals, that makes negative 8. All right, now I don't have fractions. Now on this bottom one, I got a 5, a 2, and a 10. What do I want to make those bottoms become? 10. I'm going to double this one. I'm going to multiply this one by 5 and leave that last one alone. So I'm going to go 2, 5, and leave that one alone. Since now they're all 10s, I'm just going to cross them out now. And I got, that's 4x. That is 5y, negative 17. That's my system now. And between that, if that's my system, now you actually have two options. If you wanted to do substitution, you could move this 2y over here, it's negative 2y, and circle it and sub it and do substitution. Or I would look at this 4x and that 1x, multiply the whole top by what?
4.
Negative 4 though, right? You want this positive 4, this to be negative 4. So if I want to get that whole top one to kind of eliminate a negative 4 here, and see, I'll write it, I'll go up a little bit. Negative 4x minus 8y and positive 32. And now let's eliminate. I'll zoom in a little bit. Those are eliminated. 5 and negative 8. A negative 8 and 5. What's that make?
Negative 8 and 5. Oh, wait, 3.
But of the negative variety. And then you got 32 minus 17.
Which is like
15.
15.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got negative 3y is 15.
So it's going to be 2, wait,
Negative 5.
yeah, negative 5 is
So
what I meant.
So you get y equals negative 5. All right, then I would go and say, okay, the problem with this question says, well, this one just says solve the system. Oh, here's the answers down here on bottom. Where's the one that has negative 5 as a y?
C.
Just C. If you needed to,
You could sub it in.
you could sub it anywhere. I wouldn't go back to the original with those crazy fractions. I mean, I would just go to one of my secondary equations like this one. And I would put my negative 5 like right here. If needed. If not needed, then you're done. Any questions on that? I'm going to show you one other thing here, Dylan. I'm not going to do this whole thing for you,
Deal.
but I will show you the other way to do it. Okay, look at this one. So Madison, you didn't see this yesterday either. But sometimes you don't have to kill the fractions. Look at the pieces. They're ugly, yes. But you got this x over 2 and this x over 3. On here you got a negative y over 3 and a negative y over 3. Well, if I had a negative y over 3 and a positive y over 3, those are going to eliminate. So what I'm going to do is just change all the bottom signs, and I'm going to eliminate this way. Because those are the same. They're just, we don't want them to be that much the same. This will be negative, this will be positive, and this will be positive. And now I'm gonna go adding them up with those eliminating. Negative y over 3 plus y over 3 is gone. This is 1/2. X over 2 is 1/2. And this is negative 1/3. So what is 1/2 minus 1/3? Just put that in the calculator real quick. 1/2 minus 1/3. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna write it.
Negative, or 1/6,
Negative 1/6?
or just 1/6, that's what it says.
Okay, yeah, positive 1/6. Okay. 1/6 x, y is eliminated, and then this is negative 10/3 plus 8/3. Negative 10/3 plus 8/3.
Negative 2/3.
Negative 2/3. And then you can see where to go from there, Dylan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave this on here, and you can just divide both sides by 1/6, and you'll find out what x
Negative
is. Yeah, and then you'll find out what x is.
Dang.